Taichiblue Studios.
Music Paint.
On the Motif, and I'm using the Motif XF8 here, but this really applies to any Motif. On Motif, all songs, you can write your songs in the song mode or in the pattern mode. You can, this is where in song mode, pattern mode is where you write, arrange, you lay out, you orchestrate your songs. You can hear the songs, you listen to them like this here. Hear what's being played. You can see which sounds are assigned to which tracks. So like I've got 16 tracks here. Feeling is on track 16, Tracy is on track 1, I got flutes on track 2, so you can hear what they sound like. We can see what sounds, or it's not just sounds, it could be which instruments are assigned to tracks. If you've got voice assigned to a track, like I have voices assigned on tracks 1 through 4, you can hear what those voices sound like. You can see the measure, the beats, the counts. I can see also in track mode, I can see where the measure starts and ends here. I can see what my play effects are for each of the 16 tracks. I can see what the measure is, beats per measure 74. I can see how many measures I have here. If you look at the top, right, 200, almost 200 measures there. And I can see how things are laid out pretty nice in track mode. And, I get a good picture of what my song looks like. And then in pattern mode here, I can kind of see how things, which parts are playing in which section, what's playing in section C or what's playing in section D, which instruments are playing where, right? But I can't really, with all of this information, I can't really see the harmony for the parts. I can see who's playing what and what's being played on which tracks, right, and what's being assigned to which channels. But when I want to do like a harmonic analysis and see which instruments are playing which notes in the song, I can't really see that, and the like pattern mode here, it's easy to see that I have Tracy and Nativity and Upad and a bass clarinet in that that's playing in my C section, but I don't know which notes they're playing. And sometimes I need to see the notes. It helps me with my arranging, helps me with laying stuff out, helps me with my chord voicings. And so the track view and the pattern view and the seeing what my layout is and seeing, what channels things are on and seeing this grid, right? This is, your basic grid that you have that shows you which instruments are playing and where they're playing, which sections. That grid tends not to be able to show you the harmony. And so that's another reason why we feature Finale on this channel. I use Notion too. I normally use Notion on my iPad. But on this channel, we also feature Finale as part of the songwriting and arranging and orchestration process, because Finale lets you see the actual notes and lets you see the harmonies and lets you see how things are laid out in a measure. You can't really see that on my Motif track view, and so I bring Finale. So that's a useful thing. So we grab the we can just grab the MIDI file for this. So we can just go into file mode and grab that MIDI file for this particular section. Like here, section A. I want to write that whole thing out to MIDI, and so I pick a file and take the thing and save it as MIDI. And then once it's in the MIDI format, I can easily bring it into notation software. Like says, I use Finale and Notion, but Dorico is one of the ones that's out there. Sibelius, there's a lot of them out there. And by bringing that file, after you've saved it into MIDI, by bringing that file into something like Finale, you will be able to easily see what the harmony and melodies is, and I can grab those files out of song mode. I can grab the files out of pattern mode on the Motif. Like here, I'm just going to grab this, create this song here in the a MIDI file from the song mode, and I'll save it as MIDI, and then I'll be able to bring that into Finale, and I will be able to see what the harmony is, and the melody and the layout from a note point of view. So like for my voices here, for the Tracy and the Nativity and the UPAD voices, and for the bass clarinet that's on this song, in this arrangement, I really wanted to just look at the harmony and see how notes are laid out and see who was playing what. I might sometimes switch that around. So that's an advantage of using something like a notation software in conjunction with the grid, in conjunction with the the track layout. The notation software, it lets you see what those harmonies are. It lets you see where the notes fall within the measure, and it lets you see who's playing which notes and who's singing which notes and that kind of thing. You can see where voices with Tracy is, and you can actually see what my tracks are. See the Ethiopian and the Nativity. There's my UPAD there and the bass clarinet. And that's what I really want to see how this all looks, and I can listen to what it sounds like. I can see who's playing what here and who's singing what. And I can see how the melody and the harmony is laid out. And so if I want to move this voicing around, now it's easy for me to see which instruments and voices and sounds are doing what. And this is kind of tough to see in a grid view, on the Motif or on a track view. Being able to see the notes laid out and where the notes fall inside of the measure. Sometimes that's important, and seeing who and which sounds are assigned to which notes, and being able to see that all at the same time instead of one at a time. Like this piano roll kind of view. That works for some people, but for me, it doesn't work. I've got my track view and my grid view on the Motif. I can see my play effects, and I can see where all of my effects are, and see what sound, what kind of automation and what my scenes are as they apply to each track and to all the sounds. But I can't see the notes, and I can't see the harmony. I can't see the polyphonic relationship between the notes, and I can't see all that stuff inside the notation software. So that's what I use. I use a mix between the Motif song mode and the pattern mode, where I can do my arranging and composing and orchestration there. But when I really need to get to things at the note level and harmony level, and see the polyphony and see how the rhythms are laid out, or how a measure is laid out, I do all of that stuff in Finale.